Go, Jakey.
Hey. Are we reviewing the Monsta Box?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Jake from Jake's Board Reviews, and I'm joined by special guest today, Dylan Baker, one of my good mates, and we're going to be discussing the Monsta Box by JS. This is going to be an awesome review. Sit back and enjoy. Jake's Board Reviews! So today we'll be reviewing two stock boards. We have an Epoxy coming in at 5'9", and a PU coming in at 5'10". So who's going? Who's going first? So the stock board I have, this one's 5'9", by 19 by 2.5 and 16ths, coming in at 26.5 litres. And this was a bit on the smaller side for me. Dylan, you want to say your one?
This is my JS Monsta Box. The PU version comes in at 5'10", 19 and a quarter, and 2 3/8 at 28.7 litres. And it was a great board, really went well, held to the wave really well, just all round, just great board in all conditions.
Yeah, I think this board's definitely the perfect all-rounder for anyone that's kind of neutral to front-footed, even back-footed. So today we'll be talking about the differences between Epoxy and PU.
The PU is better in those windier, bigger days, but the Epoxy really goes better in the smaller days, especially where you just want that pop and speed.
Epoxy would be more suited to your 1 to 4 foot conditions, where as a PU would probably be more suited to that 2 to 5 foot range.
Both of us tried both the Epoxy, the Hi-Fi, and the PU. And me personally, I like the PU, but I like the Hi-Fi a lot more. I had this old Hi-Fi and it just went so well, so much speed and just held to the wave. It was just a lot quicker and nicer.
I rode the PU today just out at one of our local beaches, and I think the PU definitely has that holding feeling of the wave, that reliability. If you're not such a big fan of Epoxy, I wouldn't recommend the Epoxy, but personally I think definitely the board feels a lot livelier underfoot with the Epoxy construction.
The Monsta Box has a medium entry rocker and just a single to double concave. Really simple. Just a regular short board outline, just to get that simple good feel when you're surfing for anyone to jump on.
The board is quite forgiving, so that's really awesome for anyone that goes into a board store and they're like, hey, we want a board that kind of, we're not such a great surfer, we just want to hop on a fiberglass board that kind of feels good. And I think you can really progress over the few years because of how forgiving this board is, and it can definitely take your surfing to quite a good level. So yeah, it's not really a bad choice for anyone from intermediate to expert.
I had really fun when the waves were just head to shoulder to head high and even waist high, but just really punchy and sort of sucky in the pocket. Just seemed to really go quick and you could whack out those snaps, and it just felt really just all together.
And Dylan, what about, since you like to throw a few airs here and there?
Oh yeah.
Is this board classified as a good air board to you, as well as a groveler / carver?
It's alright. I found my JSS 17 and a few other boards were a lot better, but this board, you can just do everything on it. This is your go-to board, honestly. It just goes, whatever conditions to throw at you, you can ride it.
Alright, so I want to discuss fins. So the PU board has a future system, as you can see, and mine is a FCS2 system. So for FCS2, I was kind of mucking around with a few different fin sets. I tried the Performers, then I went to Reactors and they still felt too light for me. And then I ended up landing on the Accelerators, which was a fin I liked as a Grom when I was about 14. So that was about 6 years ago. And the Accelerators just felt great. It's kind of in between that Carver and Performer, so it's not too raked back. Dylan, what would you say is the best fin choice for this particular board in the PU?
Well, I tried a few fins in the PU. I went through some speed generating fins, which was similar to Performers, but they didn't really, they were alright, but the fins I landed on was a Legacy. I had this one surf, I was testing, I put the Legacy pivot fins in, and it just pivoted literally off the bottom, heaps of speed and just torque straight into the lip. It just felt like magic.
Yeah, sorry to disturb you. I definitely thought, the Reactor set definitely was my second go-to fin. So especially like when it's small, like 1 to 4 foot, that's perfect. And I think in a PU board, those are kind of the fins you would want. I tried the Carver as well, which was one other fin choice I didn't mention, and that just felt way too slow and sluggish, which I don't really like. It was kind of a template that was similar to the McFadden Carver set, so I would definitely not recommend that fin unless you're a bit heavier, per se.
Yeah, and when I was riding a hi-fi, I found that I used the Performer fins, which just the all-round fins, and they just seem to work like it's magic. Like, just had all the speed, just let the board work to its full potential.
So both these boards are unbelievable paddlers, and I feel like a lot of the foam for that is distributed in the front, and a lot of the time when that foam is distributed a bit more far forward, just above your front foot, it allows you to paddle just really easily. So how's your experience paddling the PU board?
I've had boards that paddle better, but I'd say this is a really good board that just paddles. Because I've had really bad boards which just paddle like terrible, but this thing seems to float you off the surface and you just seem to be able to cruise around like nothing's bothering you.
Yeah, I think other than that mosquito in my face.
Yeah, no mosquitoes in the water.
Yeah. The Monsta Box is a squash tail. The squash tail's for all-round performance in the pocket.
But all in all, these were great boards that you can rely on in your everyday surf. If you just want to get a good old surfboard, she's here for you.
That's right, yeah, she's a beauty for sure. Dylan, thanks for coming on the show today.
That's all good.
You were awesome having your presence.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more reviews in the future. We'll be reviewing the DX1 by DHD, so stay tuned.
Yeah, and a few others too.
And a few others, maybe some foamies.
Skateboard reviews.